Okay, good evening, brothers and sisters. This is Paul from the Money Mob. The Money Mob is a buy black crowdfunding, crowd purchase movement that supports black business. I'm here with my co-host, Sister Barbara, and our brother here, and our guest, Chef Kev. Before I start, I want to just introduce you. Well, introduce you in regards to where I am. I'm actually filming at a spot called Impact Brixton, which is a Black-owned, conscious-driven co-working space that's based in the heart of Brixton. It turns out that the place offers a registered business address, office, hot desking. There's event spaces as well as meeting rooms. There's also spaces for podcasts, rooms as well as a lot more. Over the next few years, they aim to support thousands of people and in businesses to realize their passion and impact the broader communities through their space. Network and free educational programs are also available. Please make sure you use my name and the Money Mob, and when you are if you're going to be looking to make inquiry to sign up and be and have an office or business address per se, and there is a 20% discount on that membership. So with that, I want to again introduce to our brother. This brother, I have known him, my goodness, about 30 years. He is a very serious brother. Very serious brother, and a relentless entrepreneur. I'm going to introduce our brother, Chef Kev. Chef Kevin.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, bro. All good. Everything blessed, thank you, King.
Fantastic. So look, Kevin, I'm going to ask you the first question, and I have to ask you this question. How has it actually been business-wise for you at this particular time?
Wow. COVID, we do specialize in really doing large events. So generally we'll do a funeral, which will be about minimum of 100 people, or we do a wedding, which will be 150 to 400 people. So our events is literally null and void right now based on the COVID. So business-wise, it's just really taken a break. And I'm using the time wisely to kind of restructure, just put certain things in place. So when we do restart again, we're kind of more tighter, more efficient. And, we use the rest to kind of rejuvenate ourselves.
Okay, I hear that. I understand.
Yeah. So what I have to do, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Okay, so what I've had to do is change around. So one of the things I also do is teach. So I teach now via videos, so doing like food videos, and just doing a range of different foods to show food can be cooked quick, easy, fresh, and still got the flavor. So, it's kind of made me have to change the whole concept of the teaching side. So you do a video, and obviously when you're doing it on camera, it's a lot different to when you're teaching a class in front of you. So I've had to change around how I teach, the approach and everything on that side. But yeah, it's been enjoyable and it's good because it kind of takes you out of my comfort zone.
Absolutely. So, Kevin.
I wonder, brother. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, sis.
I wonder, brother Kevin, just to say, this brother, beloved brother, he's been feeding us from day dot, so he's well known and well loved by myself and my family. Brother, I just wanted to say, has it been the type of food that you've had to prepare during this time? Because people have had to, you see people rush into the market, but shelf empty. For you as a chef, have there been, have you had to be really versatile in what you're using and what you're demonstrating with the resources that you've had?
Yes. So one thing I've had to do is change around. So whereas before you'd more be meat and fish, Now you've got to kind of balance out with some vegetarian and a lot more vegan. So I'll do something like a coconut chickpea curry. So that will cover for the vegans. And then I might do a vegetable curry with normal kind of vegetables. I might put some paneer cheese with it. So I can cater on that side. Then you've got the fish market where people want the fish, but they don't want it so, you know, fried all the time. So you show them how they can bake it, how you can put the okra with it, different vegetables, still get the flavor without having to fry. So what I've found with the lockdown, the videos I do, I will have to go across the board as opposed to just doing all the meat ones. I'll do a cross section of videos where I can cater for all the different tastes. The biggest growing market right now is definitely the vegan market.
Okay. So I'm going to kind of touch on that a little bit down the road again. You've been cooking for 30 plus years, right?
Yeah.
Now, I mean, have you always had a love for cooking and for food?
Kind of. So I was at school. I remember I stayed on a year because I weren't sure what I wanted to do. And then I kind of used to cook at home at lunchtimes. Them days you could go home and cook. And then a couple of brethren come with me. They like the food. And then you realize, boy, I maybe can earn a living from this. It was between that and car mechanic. And greasy cars, winter, that wasn't me. Hot kitchen, that sounded a bit more like me. So I kind of went the catering route. So I went to Waltham Forest College. It was a 2-year course. But I must admit, I had a bad attitude. I got kicked out after the first year, but that was the best thing what happened to me because then I was forced into the industry, started from early, and the rest is history in terms of some of the places I've worked at and having to think on my feet. So, yeah, it's been fun, and I think the lockdown, where I'm having to kind of do videos, is kind of reignited my passion, teaching-wise, and sometimes it can be tiring. So the little break, doing the videos, a lot more refreshing. You feel kind of ready to kind of rumble again.
Okay, fantastic. So, just touching on something you mentioned earlier. I mean, over the 30 years, you have seen like food habits and tastes change. I mean, how drastic actually has it been over the last, I don't know, the last 30 years? Or the last even 5 years?
The change has been massive in terms of you see the food industry change. Can you hear me?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, you're cutting out.
Okay. Can you hear us now? Can you hear us?
The last part's cut out. Can you say again, please, sir?
I was just saying that
I heard where you said changes, but then it cut off.
Okay. So how big has the changes been in the last, say, 5 years?
So in the last 5 years, the biggest change has definitely been the vegan. Not so much veggie, I would say the vegan. There was always, over the last 10 to 15 years, vegetarians creeped up. But over the last 5 years, the vegan market has been the biggest growing one. I'll give an example. We was doing a funeral, and the funeral was for 300 people. Out of that 300, normally you'd get about 20, 30 vegetarians. On this one, we had 50 vegans, and we had about another 30 vegetarians. So that shows you the number in terms of we're dealing with on the vegan front now. So you have to kind of be able to make sure you can adapt and provide that service. If that's the market where people are going, then you've got to make sure you can kind of have the things ready for them.
And is that in the context of an African Caribbean community, or this is just generally?
I think it's big in the Afro-Caribbean community because I think a lot more people are thinking more about the health benefits. They see illnesses related to diet, and so they know cutting out certain things out of your diet are going to help. But also on the European market as well. So I teach in a school in Berkshire, and normally it's maybe 1 or 2 vegetarian. Now you're talking about most classes I'll find a few vegetarians and a few vegans. Unheard of, especially for, you're talking about a school in Berkshire in a predominantly really affluent area, and a lot of the boys are more taken to a vegan and vegetarian diet. Not so much them, their parents, but they're buying into it as well. They are buying into it as well.
Wow, okay. Sister Barbara, any questions?
Yeah, I do. I have a cousin who is a chef, and he has experienced quite difficult experiences from hotels, being in hotels, being the way he's treated. Did you encounter any kind of difficulty in the industry, being working in a hotel or in a restaurant? And I keep saying to him, it's time for you to branch out. He's got great skills, time for him to branch out and do something for himself, but he's needs the confidence. So have you experienced it, and what made you branch out to be doing your own kind of entrepreneurial businesses?
Wow, good question. So when I first started cooking, I was in like restaurants, and the first restaurant I worked was a restaurant at the back of Harrods called Mes Amis. And an example would be one of my friends, I was only, just turned 18, and one of my friends got killed. And such was the restaurant, I wanted a day off to go to my friend's funeral. and they told me if I went to that funeral, I wouldn't have my job when I come back. Now, it's your first job, you're still young in the industry. They didn't let me go to that funeral. I did leave a couple of weeks later, and you kind of hit yourself because you're thinking, I really and truly, I should have left when it came to the funeral. But you're young, you're starting off in the trade, you want to kind of make a name for yourself, and you don't want to do the wrong thing. But at the same time, that was one of my first things. Then there was also at college, I'd even go further back. The lecturer, he used to say so much things which were racial, if you can want to say. So if someone sat on a table, tables were made for glasses, not black man asses, things like that. If someone burnt something, he would say something like, black is an offense in the kitchen. So I had all that. In the hotels, you had a lot of that as well. But a lot of the time you're so busy, you kind of just carried on. You've done what you needed to do. But based on the way people talk to each other, especially it's hot, it's a mad atmosphere. You're in a rush, you're in a hot kitchen. It's very tense. So in the atmosphere, you do get kind of crazy moments where you're going to clash with other chefs, and you're going to have situations which are not good. Me personally, I knew I could only stay so long in the industry. Number one, they work you more and more harder and harder. So one point I was at the Hilton, and I was doing like, it started off like a 8-hour shift, then it went up to 10 hours, 12 hours. You're doing 15 hours days, and then what they try and do, instead of paying you overtime, they would say take the time off in lieu. So you kind of get more days off instead of getting the money, but you're working like a dog. So when you're in that kind of scenario, you're kind of working out now, because that's why you find a lot of chefs get burnt out very, very young. So most of the chefs I went to college with, by the time we got to 25, most of them had left the industry. Very few stayed in this industry because of the work and everything. So the only way I'm still in the industry is if I went self-employed. But working as a chef, no, that would not be. You haven't really got a life. And even now, people say, why don't you open a restaurant? I try and avoid restaurants like the plague. The restaurant I did used to run, we done really well. We done the premiere or the after party for Boys in the Hood. And we done some proper celebrity do's, and it was fun. But the work, the stress, the pressure, that lifestyle, it's not too bad when you're young. As you get older, no way. That's why you see a lot of chefs turn to alcohol, drugs. That's the only way you can really survive if you're doing that on that industry the way they want you to work.
Wow, that is heavy, man.
So how did you make that transition from where did you get your ideas to kind of develop your entrepreneurial business side of your catering and your chef? Because I'd like you to advise him, because, you know, he's getting burnt out, misused.
I think once you've got that skill where you can cook, and then people start knowing, because one of the things we do, we don't really advertise as a company. Most of our business is word of mouth. We're doing an event. So let's say you do a funeral for 100 people or a wedding for 150 people. Yeah. At that wedding or that funeral, you're going to have at least a few people who are thinking about getting married. You're going to have a few people who's got relatives who pass further down. And if they've got a good service when they've come to that event, they'll say, that's the person we want to use. So one of the things I try to do is give a good customer service and make sure we don't really have to advertise. The customers will advertise for us based on us providing a good service. So we do the job well enough, then people don't need to kind of look for us. They know where we are. We give out each event, we make sure we've got cards there. We have someone going around to make sure everyone's happy, make sure everyone's looked after. From there, you kind of get the people kind of saying they like that little circle. Yeah, that's one of the things. In terms of how I got started, I started.
Kevin,
you got cut off.
You got cut off there. Hopefully, we'll get him back as soon as possible.
Yeah, because this is really important because, as I said, my young cousin is getting traumatized by, well, not traumatized, but, you know, the experience that they have, it can be
very hard. Very, very hard.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back?
Yes, yes.
We can hear you.
I'm back. Can you see me?
We can see you as well.
All right, yep, fire away.
So yeah, Sister Barbara was just asking in regards to starting the, you know, tips in regards to, you know, going towards.
So yeah, so the first thing you want to try and do is have. It depends on what type of catering he wants to do. If you want to do events, you want to try and start advertising. Put some little cards about catering available. In social media is the main thing nowadays for those kind of startups. Just put some pictures up of what food you do, get the word around. So you're building up your profile. If you've got a product, again, put some tasters. You have to. One thing I've learned, you have to spend money to make money. So get tasters, and you might be in a certain area. And then you give out these tasters with your little card. If people like it, they'll come back. They're going to want to know who this person is. So it's getting a start, but you've got to have a confidence and don't do something what everyone else is doing already. And if you are, find a location where you can kind of do it, and it's not going to be now saturated with everyone doing the same thing. A lot of these markets, like these Saturday and Sunday markets, are available now. We can get a stand there, see how it goes. So then you can try it and test out the water, see if you really want to do that. So that's the kind of thing now, if you want to kind of get into the catering now, that's the kind of things I would get started off with.
Oh, thank you. Great advice.
No problem. No problem.
So Kevin, when did you actually start and create your business?
So I started in 1995. 1995 was when really I started doing weddings more so, and build up my equipment. So you do a little event, a little delivery, and then it starts building up from there. You provide a good service, and slowly it starts kind of snowballing, where people start talking, and then people have got family, and then from there you just kind of keep going, and it's kind of snowballed from there.
Okay. Now,
there's another thing I would always say. One of the things, as we got busier, I more took a back seat from the cooking side and more started to kind of organizing. And this is one of the things where if the business is expanding, you don't want to be now in the mud. It's working. You want to know how things are. You want to know you can step in, but at the same time, you want to be able to kind of grow it and see what's what. So I take a step back. I've got a team of chefs who do the cooking, and I more oversee things as opposed to things. Reason being, I don't want to be stuck in the kitchen and then I've done the cooking, but then how do we get the next business? How about this client who's supposed to have this? So I rather be behind the scenes and making sure we can have business coming in regular.
I hear you. So, I mean, for a budding entrepreneur who is a chef and he wants or she wants to get into the actual food business, catering business, what would be the 3 things that you would advise anyone who wants to come into the food business?
So work out what equipment you're going to need. Work out who your market is. See who your competition is, and is it a demand for it? And realistically, where you're going to be cooking from, and what budget are you going to need to make it work? And then you need to kind of get feedback to know you're on the right track. So when you do an event, you want to kind of go around, check people's feedback. Oh, this was nice, but, or, you know, I like that. I want more pepper in my curry, things like that. So you're kind of working out what the market is like. So the key thing with any business, in truth, but especially with catering, is making sure there's a market for your product, and you're not going into a market where there's people doing it already, and you're not doing it in a market where people don't really want that kind of food, what you're trying to offer.
All right, I hear you.
And one more thing. One of the key things, what a lot of black businesses do in terms of food, they try and put everything on the menu, and then when people want to kind of have the food, you haven't got this, you haven't got that, and that's the frustrating. So it's better to start small and then build up your menu from there. So start with a couple of big dishes which you know everyone's going to eat, and then from there you build up from that.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so Kevin,
can I just ask also, is there any kind of obviously there is health and safety requirements and standards that needs to be met?
So if they're a caterer, the basics, you need a level 2 food and hygiene, and you can do that online. It's £12, and it gives you different scenarios. It'll take you about 4 hours, 5 hours to do that. Once you've got the basic food hygiene, that's a start. If you are going to get premises, you have to get the premises inspected by environmental health, and then they'll give you a rating and they'll tell you what you need to do so you can sell food. And again, it depends on where you're cooking and who you're selling to, and if you're going to be cooking on site or cooking off site. So just basics, but the basic food hygiene, that would work. Level 2 food hygiene, it's about £12 online.
Right.
Fantastic. So Kevin, what are the plans for the future? I mean, I know that I said you lecture. I know that you're also a celebrity chef as well. I know you were on the Iron Chef a few years ago. So really, what's the plans for the future for Chef Kevin?
So present right now, I'm looking at 2 areas where we're looking to expand the food business, where we do more events. Right now, we'll be in Manchester doing weddings. We'll be in Coventry doing like a dinner and dance and comedy show. We'll be up and down the country. The plan is to kind of get more chefs on board and really kind of expand the business so we're making more money, more turnover, and more opportunities. One of the things we do is give opportunities to the young chefs. If they've got the potential, we'll train them up. And we try and work with other companies where they can get apprenticeships. But either way, we try and make sure we've got some of the young people involved so they can kind of get a start off in their career.
That sounds
fantastic.
That sounds fantastic. So, Kevin, where can people get a hold of you and get an idea of your service? Where can we contact you?
All right, so you can either get me on my website, www.new-initiatives.com, or contact number 0786 507 4954. And wow, that's really the main contacts right now in terms of once we kind of get more established, we will be advertising in truth, because I want to now expand and take the thing to another level.
All right, fantastic. I also know that you have, because I've seen a couple of your your video shows. They look quite impressive. Do you have any? You got more of that? Are you gonna go into that direction as well?
Definitely going in that direction. So what I've been doing over this last few months is food videos, and a lot of them I was just trying out to see how they look. And I think I learned this more from you, Paul. You kind of always make sure, you want to make sure it's really airtight. So the videos I've been doing right now are more my trial ones. So I've kind of shared them on WhatsApp, but I'm not putting them in the main social media like Facebook or Instagram. That's the next level. Once I'm happy with the quality and the standard of the videoing, of how I'm presenting, then that's the next level where I'll start advertising my little food videos, promoting with the business, but also helping people to kind of learn cooking simple, healthy, tasty food. So that's the direction, as well as the events.
All right, fantastic.
Wonderful.
Fantastic. So, Sister Barbie, do you have any more questions before we go into the Money Mob question?
No, that's fine. Go ahead. It's been really, really informative.
Absolutely. So, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
The Money Mob question. If you were given one wish in regards to the Black community, what would that one wish be?
I think in regards to, I'd have to use it in the food industry. There's so many of us doing the food, but we don't have to be against one another. I would love it if we could unify and kind of work more together as opposed to against one another. I have to big up Plantation Inn, George Hamilton. He's been going for years. He does the same thing we do, but if I can't do something, I'll pass it on to him, vice versa. And I think across the community, if we could do things like that, where we worked and unified, as opposed to trying to, oh, that person's doing the thing, so we're against each other, we'd get so much further. So my thing would be to kind of unify when we're doing businesses where we don't always have to kind of be enemies because we're doing the same thing. Why don't we try and work together to make sure there's more than enough food everyone can eat?
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Fantastic. So, Chef Kevin, it's been a pleasure and a privilege to actually have you on the show. And as I said, I wish you well, and hopefully one of these days, not too long down in the future again, and it'll be good to actually have you on again. Definitely in regards to other things, maybe even some sort of a master class or some sort of
I would love that. I would love that. Like that, I like this sound of that, a little Chef Kev's master class. Yes,
I like it.
A one-off special for Money Mob. All right.
All right. That sounds like we're on there.
Absolutely. Some vegan food.
Yeah, it'll be a vegan one as well. So, and then I'll show how you can adapt it, because you can do the vegan and you can add other things to it. So take for all the markets. So yeah, no problem.
Fantastic.
I'm up for it.
All right. Fantastic. So
Chef,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that's fantastic. Look, this is Paul from the Money Mob here, Sister Barbara, my co-host. Another fantastic show. Again, thank you, Kevin. And remember to when you see the video, comment, share, subscribe. We want to really want to get this one out, because it's about having the right diet, right food, and and having the right chef. So definitely we want to make sure we get that out there. So as I said, if you want, follow us also on social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, Money Mob 101. Remember, Money Mob 101, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And with that, we want to call it a day. Thank you very much. Good evening.
Thank you. Support the Money Mob. Support Black businesses.